Thank you for watching my interview. My name is Jin Shuang. Today we will have an interview about Christian Fuchs' book, Internet and Society, Social Theory in the Information Age, and discuss some important issues beyond that. So please let me introduce my two interviewees, Christian Fuchs and Eran Fisher. Christian Fuchs is a professor of social media in the University of Westminster. He is also co-founder of Internet and Communication Technology and Society, an international interdisciplinary that researchers are interested in digital media and society that has various activities. He is the author of the Internet and Society, Social Theory in the Information Age. Eran Fisher is an assistant professor at the Open University of Israel. He is co-editor with Tova Bensky of Internet and Emotions. So welcome to my interview.
Yes, so my research field is the relationship of digital media and society. And thinking back when I first became interested in this, I mean, it was when I was in school. I was very interested in computers and in informatics. Yeah? So I was very good at software engineering and sort of felt, well, that's something I really would like to study at university. So I started studying in an undergraduate program. It was an informatics program at the Vienna University of Technology in Austria, but this was informatics, and informatics, of course, is predominantly about technology, designing technology, implementing code, software engineering, and so on. So how did I become interested in the relationship of computing and society? After I had studied for like maybe 2 years, yeah, or a little bit less, I felt that just focusing on technology is really not enough. Yeah? I was a very political person back then, and you know, in Austria we have a far-right party, a right-wing extremist party. I mean, some are saying it's even a neo-fascist party, that back then was very successful in elections. So it suddenly became a party that had more than 20, then more than 25% of the voters, and I felt, well, politically we must do something against the rise of neo-fascism and right-wing extremism in Austria. That's why I became also an anti-fascist activist, and I was very interested in politics, and I felt also when in the academic realm it's not enough that we just focus on technology, but I found out everything is really political, yeah? And politics plays a role everywhere. So then I was close to abandoning my studies in engineering. I wanted to study political science or sociology or maybe philosophy, but at the same time I felt it might be too late already, because I was in my second or third years of studies already. But then I discovered, well, there is a politics that concerns the computer and the internet itself, yeah? And it's very important if we think about politics and are interested in technology, not just to view code and computers and the internet from a technological perspective, but to connect them to power structures in society, to the role that politics and political economy play in society. That's why I became interested in a field that is called social computing or social informatics. It basically studies how computers shape society and how society shape computers. And then ever since I specialized in this field of study. I think it answers your questions of how I became involved in computing and society. So the question is how ICTs and society connected to each other. And in general, there are, in the social study of computing, there are several approaches of how this relationship has been conceived, and two of them are, in my opinion, fundamentally flawed. The first one is one approach called technological determinism. Technological determinism assumes that the consequences and effects that computers have on the internet have on society are already immanent in the technologies themselves. So, and they typically the logic of technological determinism is something like the computer or the internet results in this and that social effect. Like a sentence like the internet results in more or less democracy, welfare, employment, and so on. I mean, completely neglects the societal dynamics and how societal power structures shape the way we can use technologies. But as a reaction to technological determinism, another approach developed called social constructivism of technology. Also the social construction of technology, that takes society more serious and assumes that design of technologies is really important, and that social structures that embed the design of technologies are designed into the technologies themselves. This, however, implies also that we can already at the design stage completely know the effects that the technology can have, and that via smart design we can and by participatory design, for example, we can ensure that technologies only have positive effects. However, technologies are fairly complex and also have a kind of unpredictable dynamic in their effect. So we cannot completely plan which effects technologies have. Yeah? So design alone is also not enough. That's why the approach that I'm using, and that I think is a good approach, is one that is based on the dialectic of technology and society. So it starts at looking at the dynamics that we have in society, and especially the power structures that we have in society, that frame the way technologies are being designed. And on the other hand, we must assume that if technologies are used, that then also they are embedded into specific power structures that can only be partly predicted and controlled, but that also have non-intended consequences. So we must have a look at how both power structures shape the design of technologies and the use of technologies. This means, for example, if you look at social media platforms such as Facebook, that already in the design of the user interface and the way Facebook is being built, there are power structures at hand. And we know that Facebook is a large company using targeted advertising. So the way the platform is designed already reflects the corporate control and corporate power structures in the very design of the technology. If you look, for example, at the language of how the privacy policy or the terms of use are using, they are very fuzzy, and a lot of things are unclear. It's a very long privacy policy that basically gives all rights to the platforms and almost no rights to the users. Or it's also a question, you cannot at all opt in or opt out of targeted advertising. It's simply a given because it's designed into the platform itself. Technology design always is confronted with power structures. At the same time, then we in the second, when the technologies are designed and are readily available, then we have users engaging with the platforms and using them. And also in this use, they are confronted with power structures. So for a Facebook user, this means that he or she is compelled when using the platform, to make available a lot of personal data that refers to the way we are using the platform, profile data, communication data, which is content data, user-generated content that we generate, and browsing behavior on the platform itself and on other platforms, and social network data about the connections that we have. So the user is compelled via power structures to provide all of this data to Facebook, that then commodifies it and sells it as a commodity to advertising clients that are then offered the possibility to offer targeted advertising. So we can only think about the relationship of technology and society if both at the level of design and usage of technologies, we are thinking about how social structures and power structures are framing design and use.
I think, first of all, there are this notion of self-organization has two interpretations, let's put it this way. You have a right-wing, liberal interpretation, and I think Christian is maybe interested to see if you can have a left-wing, Marxist interpretation. So the right-wing interpretation of self-organizing system, I think, is basically the market, right? That's the exemplar of self-organizing system, where you have a system that is very, very complex, that is, presumably it works. It doesn't actually work, because capitalism, gets into crisis all the time, and the way to take it out of the crisis is from outside of the system, actually. It cannot actually help itself. It needs some other, like an external organ, which is usually the state, to actually help it out. But the ideal is that, let's say the market is that it's very, very complex. So you have no one at the top which is thinking, okay, how am I going to make the economy more X or Y? What, how am I going to organize the economy? But every one of us is basically, we have our wants and our needs, and let's say by me coming to you and buying something, so you produce something, and there you create system, which is the market, but it self-organizes itself. If you produce oranges and people are stop buying oranges, then you will stop producing them. You will say, okay, maybe people now are interested in other fruits. So it will organize itself in a way, but without top-down organization. So that's the interpretation, and I think the liberal interpretation, which basically says we don't need government, we don't need any smart people to tell you what, to tell us what to think or to do. This is the idea of Adam Smith's invisible hand, right? That there is this something, somehow the market organizes itself. He thinks that this could be also has kind of a left-wing or Marxist interpretation, right? That people with his ideas about media is not that. Obviously, now social media is captured by a capitalist logic, right? So you have basically those companies that are, what they produce is, or what we produce for them is a lot of information, which they commodify and sell. So their logic is to make us speak a lot with each other and post a lot of information so they can actually use this information. So Christian is saying, no, but what happens, if we change the logic? We still have social media, but it will be really social. So I think Christian has this notion that you can have self-organization without self-organization, but which is not market-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is really more democratic, because, you know, bottom line, if you look at the market, obviously it's not really everyone is doing what they want. You have really, really big players, very strong players that actually maneuver the. So I think a Marxist idea of self-organization is that you don't need to have that you can use this power of people to actually come together and cooperate and collaborate, but do it not in a market environment, but do it in a, let's say, a social environment or a political environment where they can come together and organize something.
Alright, so in this book, Internet and Society, I'm using as a theoretical framework the theory of complex dynamic self-organizing systems in combination with Hegelian dialectical philosophy and Marxist critical political economy. So what is a self-organizing system? A self-organizing system is a dynamic and complex system where new qualities of the system emerge from the interactions of the elements of the system. And it's a kind of universal theory that allows you to describe all sorts of natural and living and cultural and social and human systems as dynamic systems. So it's a theory that focuses on change. And one important notion in this context that has been developed is the notion of emergence. And emergence basically means that a whole is more than the sum of its parts. So how this idea has been used is to describe how new qualities emerge from the interaction of elements, and that's of course an idea that we can apply to internet platforms. So the internet is a kind of complex dynamic system in itself, and in this context I have made use of dialectical social theories that describe a dialectic of structure and agency as the most fundamental process that is happening in all social systems. So the internet is not just a technological system, it's a socio-technical system, and in this socio-technical system human beings interact with each other. So it's fairly important that there are humans that make up the social structure of the internet. Without human beings, just as a technological structure, the internet would really be completely useless. But what human beings do on the internet is that they create knowledge, they share knowledge, they communicate with each other, and they enter collaboration and community formation processes. And from these interaction processes, specific technological structures, the storage of knowledge and the transportation of knowledge in digital form emerges in the system. And this knowledge, digital information, data that is stored and transported through the system, then further enables and constrains possibilities for action of the users. So you could say this dynamic, complex, constant emergence of knowledge and data out of user activities that further enable and constrain human agency, out of which again new data that is stored in the system emerges, is a kind of very dynamic process. But now it's I mean, we were saying that it's about digital media and society, and if digital media is a complex system, then it's connected to dynamic, complex processes also in society. And I think also all of our social systems are dynamic and complex, and what this means in modern society is that because modern society is society that is based on unequal power structures and on different forms of inequality. So in modern society, what is very characteristic for it is that there are accumulation processes, that are dynamic processes also. But what emerges in the systems of modern society is a different capital structure. So there's an accumulation of what Bourdieu calls economic, social, and cultural capital, where the goal for dominant groups and classes is to accumulate ever more economic, social, and cultural capital, and accumulation is always something at the expense of others. So there are power structures involved here. But you could say the complex dynamic processes of modern society are exactly these accumulation processes that then shape the complex dynamics of communication and information processes on the internet. So they are mutually interlocking and interacting with each other. The dynamic processes in society and the dynamic processes in the socio-technical system of the internet.
Today we talk about Christian's book, Internet and the Society, Social Theory in the Information Age. From this video, we know about Christian first interested in Internet and communication technology when he in university. And he would like deeply know more about the relationship between ICTs and the society. So he preferred to research in this field. And he also mentioned this point in the introduction of this book. Both Christian and Eran point out that this book is a combination of social theory of complex self-organizing system and the Marx theory. Eran thinks that the light spot of this book is applying Marxist theory into self-organizing system. Based on his sociological background, he also claims that the antagonism of competition and cooperation is a crucial topic in his book. In conclusion, Internet and the Society, Social Theory in the Information Age explains the relationship between ICTs and the society, and how ecological, economic, political, and the cultural system has been transformed by new ICTs, and how the Marx theory and Hegel's dialectical philosophy engaged in this self-organizing system. Thanks for your time for watching my video. Bye bye.